All right, good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started and be respectful of everyone's time. First, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us for this virtual overview and introduction into Parent Square, our new communication tool. If I pause momentarily, I do have additional people coming in, so I just want to make sure I keep allowing them in from the waiting room. My name is Kristen Deichler. If I have not had the opportunity to meet you, I am the school district's assistant superintendent, and we'll be talking a little bit about the tool in terms of how we plan on using it, why we made the transition to it, and what purposes we believe it serves you as a parent, caregiver, or whole family. And with me this evening, we also have from our South Fayette educational family, Leanne Jubis. I will let her introduce herself. She is a part of our tech department, and she will be going through with you tonight the actual steps and the technical side of manipulating your app or the website. So Leanne, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leanne Jubis. I am the IT manager here at South Fayette.
Just allowing a couple more people in here, and they should be joining us. Again, before we move off of this screen, I just want to let everyone know who is joining us currently that these are two QR codes, one for Android, one for iOS or Apple. You can use a device to scan those so that you can get direct access to the Parent Square app. Before we begin, I just want to let all users know that we have turned your cameras and the ability to unmute off. We are recording this, and so out of respect for everyone, we also know you have busy households at home and you might be multitasking, you might be on your way home from work. So just to be respectful of everyone, we do have the cameras and the mics turned off, and this is recorded so that we can share the training with other families who may not have been able to join us. Okay. I think we have everyone for now in from the waiting room. And so we're going to move forward. So this evening, and we hope to contain this to just about an hour or slightly less, but we hope to help you understand what Parent Square is, what is essential for you to know as a parent or caregiver user for Parent Square, the three major ways that communications will happen in Parent Square, how to set up your account and your preferences, whether that is how you are receiving notifications or your language preferences. And a lot of what I mentioned are the benefits to why we moved to Parent Square, but I'll talk a little bit more about that. So Parent Square is the district's now one-stop shop and comprehensive tool for communication. That would be any communications coming from the district, whether that's from the top level, so on behalf of the entire district, all the way down to a classroom level. It will not entirely replace email, but a lot of the messages that you would have received in the past through what was called School Messenger will be all replaced by Parent Square notifications. Additionally, messages such as school cancellations or any urgent messages that we would need to communicate will come through Parent Square. So it is one central tool and it takes care of a lot of different features. One of the biggest desired features that we were not able to overcome as a challenge on the school messenger side was the ability to text notify parents if they wanted that option. And that is one of the benefits to Parent Square is that you have the option as the parent to a child or children enrolled to decide how you want to receive the messages, again, from the district level all the way down to the classroom level. That can be via text, that can be a push notification on your device through the app, that could be web-based, and it will also be an option to receive it as email. We'll talk about any times that those preferences that you set up get overridden by a certain message that we have to send out, but we'll talk about that as we go through the presentation. So a big benefit of shipping from School Messenger, which was really a flat tool. It got its job done when we needed it, but it was not as dynamic as School Messenger is in the sense that you have a lot of options, as do we on the sending end and on the receiving end. It also will automatically translate into over 180 languages. So the users will have the automatic choice. You, as the parent receiving our communications, you will have the choice to set it up into whatever language you prefer. So we will send out one message to all of the recipients that we choose. And if there are individuals in that group that want that message to be translated into a different language, it automatically translates it. Just as if you choose to get it as text, text and your neighbor chooses to get it through a push notification on the app, the same message will go out, but it'll arrive to you in the method and the form in which you have chosen. And again, we'll show you how to do that tonight. Another feature, I know that from serving in different roles with the district, previously a building administrator and a classroom teacher, it could be frustrating when you got school messenger messages because you weren't sure what office it was coming from, who the sender was. Most lately, when we were using it in the last, I'd say 6 to 8 months, it would come from a really nondescript email address. With Parent Square, you will know who it's coming from and you will have the opportunity to respond back. Now, at different types of messages, there are different ways to respond, but there is a feature that is two-way communication that we'll talk about. So where School Messenger was only one direction and sometimes you were uncertain who to contact relative to that message, that will be more clear in using Parent Square. And I've already mentioned that Parent Square does allow you as the user or the recipient of our messages to choose whether you want to receive those via text, email, at voice. You could choose more than one, and you can also choose at what the immediate way in which you receive it, or if you want to delay when you receive those messages. And again, we'll go through all of that tonight. So we saw Parent Square as an answer to a lot of our parents' questions in terms of the lack of dynamic features that came with School Messenger. It also, we hope, will bring consistency and a uniform nature to all of our communications. If you have had or currently have multiple children in the district in multiple buildings, different messages would come out. You would have to respond in different ways, or you would use different tools to sign up for things such as parent conferences. All of that moving forward will be driven to Parent Square. So it will be one tool, one central tool for you, whether you have a student in second grade and a student in 11th grade, or if you have children in one of each of the buildings or only one building. It will be uniform and consistent across the district. There will be multiple ways for us to communicate. There are really three major types that we'll talk about. There are posts, there are messages, and there are alerts. We'll go into more detail about those types of communications, but just generally, posts are like announcements, and you'll see it has a very social media-like feel to the platform. It is not a social media platform, but it is designed with that vertical scrolling action where you can see posts like you would most similarly on like a Facebook page. Messaging is more like what you would think of texting. It is not visible except for between you and the employee for which you are messaging within the district. And then there are alerts. Alerts are more urgent in nature or more critical in nature, and there are two levels of alerts that we'll talk about. So posts, very general announcements announcing the upcoming homecoming carnival. That's not urgent, that's not critical, but it's important that we let you know. Text notifications are more private. And again, it's not texting between cell phones. It's all on the app, but it's similar to a texting like exchange. And then alerts where it's more urgent or critical in nature. I want to call your attention to what's on the screen right here. In earlier slide, I talked about how if you had children in different buildings, you might not be sure of how to respond or who to respond to, or you do know who to respond to, but you have to send one form this way for an absence. You have to send an email in another building. This is a perfect example of how Parent Square will help to make this uniform. For example, with school absences, you would get a notification through Parent Square that your child was absent, and right embedded in either that email or push notification would be a hyperlink that you would just click on and you would verify the absence, the reason for absence, and it just gets submitted right back to the school. So no need for an additional email, no need for this school gets this type of communication for absences versus this school gets something different. So that two-way feature is very dynamic. There are a lot of features within PowerSchool that we can use that are two-way, like permission forms, signature forms. You can do signups, you can do conferences, you can do if there was like a wish list for a teacher and the parents within that group or that classroom wanted to sign up to donate things, you could do that. And again, it's all that back and forth. It's not like School Messenger where everything just is received by you, but not something that you can respond to. So things for you to know that I think are important and that we'll go into detail so that you can make this suit your preferences in terms of how you receive communications. You will choose how and when. So of those methods, you can choose one, you can choose more than one, and you can choose to receive them immediately, or you can choose to have them cluster or group together and receive it all at one time in the early evening. What is on paper will now be accessible by a device, whether that's your phone or a laptop or a different type of device. You will be able to really have those exchanges from permission forms to signups, which formerly would have been done on paper. You can do it through Parent Square. And you will be able to reach out to teachers through that messaging feature. You still can utilize email. And what I would differentiate is if you have a longer email that you want to send to a teacher with details in it, it maybe has multiple paragraphs, that's appropriate for email. The messaging in Parent Square is something that should be a quick exchange, like a text, like, hey, did John bring in his excuse to you this morning? I reminded him, very quick. Something that is a quick checkup that you want to do. And again, we're giving you kind of an overview, but we'll go into these details as we go through the tool here momentarily. Just so everyone is aware, parents, guardians, family members are getting the preview and the training before our teachers and support staff. They have been off all summer and they return next week. So they will be receiving their Parent Square training next week into the following week before our students return. So our community launch, the official date is September 1st. Not that it isn't being used or can't be used before then, but if you try to use Parent Square to reach out to your child's teacher or team of teachers, you may not get a response because they have not been trained yet. So as I said earlier, I explained that posts are generally like announcements. When you see them on the app or on the website, it's vertically stacked with post after post like you would see on Facebook. These posts are going to be communications that we send out just generally. It would be something maybe your teacher wants to announce to all of the families of the students in his or her classroom. Again, it might be us at the district level wanting to remind you of an upcoming event, a concert, a homecoming carnival, an athletic event, ticket sales. So what you would in the past typically receive in an email from our district through School Messenger will now come through a post. Our weekly green scene, which is constructed by our communications director, would come out as a post instead of as a separate link or document. It'll be right in Parent Square. Same with any teacher newsletters. This happens most frequently, but not exclusively to K to 5, but most frequently on our elementary end, they have maybe weekly or monthly newsletters. Those would come through Parent Square as opposed to another tool. Keeping in mind, and some of these things will repeat multiple times, you don't have to worry about a language barrier because even if we send that newsletter in English, you have the option as the recipient to set that to a preferred language and it will translate it so that when you receive it, it is in your chosen language. There is that engagement piece that comes with posts. So if we put a post up and we're looking for volunteers to sign up, you could respond to that. There is a form. A perfect example, if you received the email today about cyber school enrollment through Eduseer, there was an attachment to that, that if you are enrolling your child, that you would have to fill out and then do an e-signature on it. When it comes to general posts, you can appreciate and comment, and some of you may have already been doing this. I have seen appreciation clicks on posts that we have sent out. They are limited, and you cannot always appreciate and comment if the sender, if the person on the district end has turned those features off. If you do comment, it is private. It is not public like a social media platform. It is only to that sender. And if you appreciate it, you'll just see a like. You won't see any other identifying information. So those could be features that are available to you. Direct messaging, I did an overview of this, but you can actually see a picture of it. think of it like a text messaging system. It is not involving your cell phone number being released to the district or the teacher or employee's cell phone number. They're not going from cell phone to cell phone. They are staying within the Parent Square app. And however you and the employee have chosen to receive messages is how you would receive the direct message. It may come to a notification on your cell phone, but it may just come to an email notification that you have a direct message. So those messages, again, should be for really brief exchanges. If you believe that you're writing something that has lengthier details or paragraphs, that should just go in a typical email that you're used to sending to a school employee. They are private between you and the employee. There is an option for a group conversation. So let's say I am a classroom teacher and I start a direct message with all of the families within my homeroom in a direct message. Anyone who responds to that, only the South Fayette employee will be able to see the responses. So even within the group conversation, it's not like a group text message where everybody can see what everybody is saying. So there are those protections in place in terms of private messaging. A nice feature with direct messaging is if there is a language barrier between you and a South Fayette employee, you could be typing in your preferred language, which is your comfort level. And when it is received by a South Fayette employee, it will be in their preferred language. And so there is no barrier in that capacity. And again, as I mentioned, but it is reinforced here, these are for brief exchanges. Alerts, it's the third type. Alerts are one-way messages that will be sent over email, text, app, and voice. So alerts are more critical or more urgent than posts. We would not use these to announce the upcoming homecoming carnival. This would be a little bit more direct or significant in nature. Now, there are two types of alerts or two levels. There are smart alerts. These are considered important, but not critical. So it could be just announcing something very specific to one building. It might be like, we had to shift the time for the start of curriculum night by 20 minutes this evening for the middle school. That's not going to happen, but it could be very building specific like that. So only the families of students in the middle school would receive that smart alert. And because it's time sensitive, but not critical, it would be sent to all types of the communication preferences so that you don't miss it. Now, the second layer are urgent alerts. These are for dire critical situations, and they override any and every setting that you have in place in terms of if you choose to wait to receive Parent Square messages, if you choose to turn certain forms of it off, like the app. If we send an urgent alert, it will go to your email, to your text, to your app and voice and override those settings. That would be for like school closures or lockdown. We don't want you to miss the message. It's something that we have at the highest level, and it goes to absolutely all users, all family users, all students in 6 through 12 because they have an email, all staff users. So it's internal and external. So you can see that that would be used for only dire or critical situations. It will most commonly be used for school closures and weather impacted delays, or if we ever have to, due to weather, end school early and start transporting before normal dismissal time. Those would be the most common uses, and that we could anticipate to see urgent alerts. So 3 types: posts. Posts are general announcements. Messages, those are private. Think like a text message, but within Parent Square. And then alerts, they are important and critical. 2 different levels. They're usually time sensitive, so we need to override, in most cases, the preferences you might have that might delay you getting that message. And the highest level is that urgent or critical alert. It will override all settings, making sure that you get the notification immediately. At this time, I am going to pass it off to Leanne, and we're going to start going through the actual activation and signing up for your account. Some of you might already have this ready to go, and if not, we also pushed out already a PDF of directions that you can follow, and I'll be following this up this week by pushing out through Parent Square this recording. So if you want to go back and watch it again, you're able to do that. But Leanne, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Deichler. So on this page, you can see where you can download from the QR code. You can go to parentsquare.com/sign in, and you can also visit their website. We have sent out an invitation, an email invitation from Parent Square, and we will look to do that again later this week. But when you download and you go to sign in, you will see that you can use like your phone number or email address and password to if you already have account, like you have a child, or if you are a teacher at another district, you can sign into your account and then link the two. You're welcome to also sign in with Google or your Microsoft credentials. So this is if you choose to sign in through the email that you receive. When you open up the email, you will see the green activate your account box. So you would, when you go to create an account, if you don't already have one, you would need to enter your name and your email address, and then also create a password, confirm the password, and then simply click register. Once you do that, you're going to be asked to confirm the information that Parent Square has. So if you signed in or created an account through your mobile device, it already has your phone number. So it will ask you to confirm your email. To do that, you'll simply swipe right on, or I'm sorry, swipe left on the email and click verify. It will send you a code to your email address, and then you will enter that code into the app, verify, and then click yes, it's me. From the web, you would verify both your email and your phone number. Once you enter the verification code and everything is successful, you'll receive a message right on the web app that says the email is verified. Once you have confirmed both, because then your phone would also be verified, just simply click, yes, this is me. You would then see a list of your children and you can confirm them. If it happens not to be your child, you can say, not my child. We have not had that happen yet. However, you can confirm your children. Again, click, yes, it's me, move on.
And we'll just let you know that Parent Square is connected on our end to Power School. So I'm going to do sort of a shameless plug here. If you have not done the verification, you were notified starting end of June, got your first notification July 7th, and have gotten weekly notifications if you haven't taken care of it yet. But we are asking starting this year that you verify the contact information for your child or children within Power School. The way in which you verify it is not going into your Power School account. It is a separate link that has all of that information. That is critical because it is tied to Parent Square as it is tied to multiple other accounts within the district that we use relative to your child or children. Also, and this is the piece that's important to you, schedules will be released coming up here at the end of this week and next week, depending on grade level, but they will only be released if your verification process has been completed. 6 through 12 will be released if you have completed the verification process prior to August 7th, and then K through 5 or 1 through 5 will be released August 12th, as long as you have done the verification. And that really is just verifying names, contact numbers, addresses, telephone numbers, email addresses. So if you have not done that, please put that on a priority list so that everything is accurate and that you can also receive your child or children's schedule at the earliest opportunity.
To add one more thought about that re-registration process, there will be an email going out tomorrow morning to all of those who have not yet completed the re-registration process. So if you haven't completed that process, you can look for the email tomorrow. Again, this is confirming your children. This is the web view. That's good to move forward. Thank you. If you do notice any issues, like a misspelling of a name, or something that just doesn't look right, even though you can confirm and continue, but you want something corrected, please email techsupport@southfayette.org and we will work with you to update the information. So once you have your account set up and you have verified your child or children, the next thing that you want to do is set your notification settings. So in order to do that from the mobile app, you would go to the menu icon, which is at the top left near that red number 1. It's the 3 horizontal bars. You click that, and the navigation menu on the left-hand side, you would then click Account. And from Account, you would then click the notifications where you see the number 3. That will take you into the image on the right. And this is where you can choose whether you want to receive information via email or via text. So where it has the number 4, it is showing you that you can choose for email whether you want it instant or digest, or right beside to the right of the number 4 in the little hand, that hand is telling you you can toggle email notifications on or off. So in this image, the email notifications are turned on, but if you don't want email notifications, you simply toggle that off. But assuming that you do want email notifications, if you choose instant, they will come just as it says instantly. Or you can choose digest. Digest doesn't really explain what it is itself. That means everything sent from Parent Square throughout the course of the day that you're receiving via email will come to you all at once at 6 o'clock in the evening. So you won't keep getting email after email. You will receive everything one time. The same goes for text. You can choose to receive every text instantly or via the digest. And again, the text then would also come around 6 p.m. at night. And notice there's also the toggle button for the text to turn them on and off. And then right below that, there's app notifications. And in this case, they're toggled off, but you could turn those on so that if you would choose to receive every time the app is updated as we post things from the district, you would receive an app notification. So those are your 3 choices to turn on or off. If you choose to receive no information from the district, we hope that you would, but if you would choose not to, you still will receive those critical alerts like the school closings or delays. So from the web, what you would do is go to the top right-hand corner where your name is. In this example, that's Gary Lynch, and select My Account. That will open up the navigation menu on the left-hand side where you would select the notification settings. That will take you into the settings, and very similar to the phone, there's your email, your text, and your app preference. And you can choose to either turn them off, instant, or that digest, which is receiving everything at 6 p.m. And then on the far right, the school alerts. So if a school sends out some kind of smart alert, if that is something that you're not interested in receiving, you can turn that off. That will not turn off the district alerts that come out that are considered critical or urgent, like the school closings and delays. The next thing that you want to do, if English is not your preferred language, because right now English defaults, you want to go from the mobile, you can change your language by choosing the menu icon, going down that left navigation menu and choosing Account, and then going and choosing Preferences, that's right under the notifications. When you choose Preferences, the second phone image that will appear and you will select language, And then you will be able to scroll through the languages and select your language of choice. And what is nice about this is if you happen to be direct messaging with, say, a teacher, your teacher can sit at school, send you a message in English. You can receive it in your preferred language. Let's assume that's Spanish. You'll read it in Spanish. You will type up your response in Spanish. And when it sends back to the teacher will receive it in English. And you can keep up that communication with the instant translations. And if you want to set your language preferences on the web, again, you go to the top right, select your name and select My Account. On the navigation menu on the left, choose Language Settings. And then you will be able to hit the down arrow where the languages appear. The list of languages come up, scroll them and select your language of choice and click Save. I had mentioned earlier, if you happen to say teach in another district who has Parent Square and you have children here at South Fayette, you can set it up so that you can toggle between the two accounts, not blend them together, but actually be able to switch between the two. So this is on the web.
Mm-hmm.
When you switch your account and you select your account and manage account, you then can add another account. And that's where you would, if you are in your parent account, you can enter your other school account information and then sign in. And at that point, you will see the different accounts and you will be able to select and switch between them. So on the app, if you notice where it's a little dark, under Olivia Smith, it says switch account. You select that, and that's where you would be able to add the second account. And then once you add that second account, you will be able to click that switch account and switch between the two different accounts. Now, Parent Square has a very robust help. If next to your name, when you're on the web, at the top right, there's a question mark representing help. You click that. In the help articles, you can search on almost any topic and get answers, and you can search as a parent. You are also always welcome to email tech support at southfayette.org, and we will guide you and help you with Parent Square. Again, here are the QR codes for the Android and Apple devices in case you didn't get to scan them earlier to download the app.
So that concludes what we wanted to present to give you an understanding of why the district is moving to this app or this platform. It really was in response to some, areas with a tool that we previously had that didn't seem to be hitting the mark as strongly as we would like as a district. And we heard some feedback from parents wanting really one place to drive everything to as much as possible. Hopefully also you were able to see those settings that you can manipulate. We always recommend start with certain settings. School is about to pick up here in a couple of weeks. You might find out after the first week that your settings are not suitable for the routine that you have. Maybe you're getting notifications too often or not often enough. Know that you can always go back in and update those. And rest assured that if it is that dire critical message that we need to send, that urgent alert, even if you have set other settings to be off or digested, which means you'll receive them later in the day, that critical urgent alert will always come through to you. It overrides all of those settings. We do